Hello class 10th. Today in this video we will discuss few exercises of chapter nervous system and then I'll start a new chapter, that is your sense organ. Okay, let's start first exercises of nervous system. First is your name the following neurotransmitter that conducts nerve impulses through synapse, that is your acetylcholine. Part of brain that maintains balance, that is your cerebellum. Third is your part of nervous system that acts violently during emergency, that is your sympathetic nervous system. Ions responsible for the conduction of nerve impulses, sodium and potassium ions. A neurotransmitter stored at the terminal end of the axon, acetylcholine. The biological term given to the protective membranes of the brain, that is your meninges. The parts of human brain concerned with the seat of memory, cerebrum, and coordinates muscular activity, cerebellum. Parts of brain associated with memory, cerebrum. The part of the brain that carries impulses from one hemisphere of the cerebellum to the other, that is your pons varolii. Now next is your complete the following. Central nervous system consists of brain and spinal cord. Sensory nerves carry impulses from receptor to CNS. Human brain weighs about 1,350 grams. Cerebrum forms the largest part of the brain. Meninges around the brain from outer to inside are, outer one is your dura mater, middle one is your arachnoid, and inner one is your pia mater. Okay, spinal cord encloses a cavity that is called central canal, and receptor is the afferent process of a neuron. Salivation of mouth on hearing the bell of a lunch break is an example of what condition? Reflexes. Cranial nerves are 12 pairs and spinal nerves are 31 pairs. Okay, lining of cavities in brain and spinal cord are called meninges. Next, find odd one out. Cerebrum, cerebellum, olfactory lobes and diencephalon. Which one is odd one out? Cerebellum, because rest are the parts of forebrain. Superior colliculi, inferior colliculi, crura cerebri and corpus callosum. Corpus callosum is odd one out because these are the parts of, rest are the parts of midbrain. Next is your citon, dendrites, axon, nucleus, granules and synapse. Synapse is odd one out, rest are the parts of neuron. Pons, cerebrum, medulla and cerebellum. Which one is odd one out? Cerebrum is odd one out, rest are the parts of hindbrain. Now walking, eating, playing and sneezing. Sneezing is odd one out, rest are voluntary action, while in sneezing is involuntary, which is not in your control. Now coughing, hiccups, breathing, heartbeat and paralysis. Which one is odd one out? Coughing is odd one out, rest are involuntary, and coughing is voluntary, which is under your control. But hiccups, breathing, heartbeat and paralysis are involuntary. Dilation of pupil, increase in heartbeat, increase in salivation and decrease paralysis. Which one is odd one out? Increase in salivation is odd one out because it is a function of parasympathetic nervous system, while rest are controlled by sympathetic nervous system. What do you mean by reflex action? What is its mechanism and significance? To learn the definition of reflex action, okay, it is given in the book, and its significance. Significance means importance of reflex action, and it is also given in the book. Okay, now next is list the activities of sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. You know this one because it is given in the book. Now next come to the question. This question number 9, given below is a diagram. Study it and answer the following questions. Now first is your label the parts number 1 to 7. 1 is your receptor. Second is your sensory nerve fiber. Third is your posterior root ganglion. Then is your fourth is your interneuron. Okay. Fifth is your spinal nerve, and sixth is your motor nerve fiber, and seventh is your effector. Now what physiological function it represents? It represents unconditioned reflex action. What is unconditioned reflex action. Give the path of nerve impulses. First is your receptor, then sensory neuron, then CNS, then motor neuron, and then effector. Okay. Next is your that is means you will write the names of reflex arc. Then what is its significance? Reflex action relieves the burden of brain by automatically responding to the routine stimuli. Okay. Next is your give 2 examples of this phenomenon. You can write any one of these examples. Okay. Salivation on smelling of a favorite food, or even thinking of it. Closure of eyes on seeing a welding light. Any 2 examples you can write from these examples. Okay. Next question is the diagram given below represents the human brain as seen in the external view. Now study the same and answer the following question. First is name the parts label 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 is your cerebrum, second is your cerebellum, third is your medulla oblongata, and fourth is your spinal cord. Now mention the difference in the arrangement of the nerve cells in the parts marked 1 and 4. Okay, in 1 is your brain, in 4 is your what? 1 is your part of brain, and 4th is your spinal cord. So now in cerebrum or in brain, this gray matter is outside. What is gray matter? Cell bodies of neuron, that is gray matter, is outside, and axon, that is white matter, is inside. Axon of neuron is inside. Okay, and in spinal cord what you write? Just opposite of it. Means what you write? Axon of neuron is outside and cell bodies of neuron are inside. Next is what is the main function of the parts marked 3 and 4? 3 is your medulla oblongata. You know the functions of medulla oblongata. It is a control center of all involuntary activities such as breathing, heartbeat, and your sneezing, swallowing, vomiting, coughing, etc. Okay. And 4th part is your spinal cord. Spinal cord function, all of you know, it is a reflex center which controls all the spinal reflexes and controls reflexes below the neck. Right. Now next is name the sheet of nerve fiber that connects the 2 halves of the part label 1. Part label 1 is your cerebrum. Cerebrum divided into 2 parts, and they are connected by corpus callosum. What is it? Corpus callosum. Right. Now next is select the category of and odd one out: sneezing, coughing, typing, blinking. Naturally, which one is odd one out? Typing is odd one out. Rest are simple reflexes. Next is name the fluid that provides protection and nourishment to the cells of the brain. That is your cerebrospinal fluid. What is the basic unit of human brain? That is your neuron or nerve cell. This one rewrite in correct logical sequence. First is your receptor, then is your sensory nerve, then sensory neuron, then 4th one is your dorsal root ganglion, and 5th is your motor neuron. Next is here is also same. First is your receptor, second is your sensory neuron, third is your association neuron, and 4th is your motor neuron. Actually, just look at here, this comma is here. Okay, and this here, it is not S, it is R, receptor. So 4th is your motor neuron and 5th is your effector. Now next, what is reflex action? You know, rest of the questions you can all are repeated, so just do yourself. Okay. Now next chapter is your chapter number 10, sense organs. All of you know that there are main 5 sense organs are there in our body. That is eye, nose, ear, your tongue, skin. Right? These are called 5 sense organs. Now these but in your syllabus only eye and ear are there. So we will learn only about eye and ear. Now the sense organs of sight is called phonoreceptors. Means eyes are also called photoreceptors. Sense organs for hearing come equilibrium, because ear not only help in hearing but they also help in balancing the body. So they are also called phonoreceptors. Come statoreceptors. Sense organ of touch is called mechanoreceptors. Sense organs of taste is called that is your tongue is called gustatoreceptors, and sense organ of smell, or they are called what? Olfactory receptor. So we have these 5 sense organs, right? And let's start first the eyes. That is your photoreceptor.
Now in this slide we will discuss about the accessory structures of the eye. Now here see the diagram of this eye. So here you can see the eyebrows, the eyelids, and please do follow my red pointer over here, and the eyelashes. And here tear glands are there which we can't see actually, but here inside under the eyelids and all there are tear glands. So these are all accessory structures of the eye. Now eyebrows protect the eyeball from foreign materials, objects, or if we are sweating profusely, the sweat should not roll down from our forehead and come inside our eye. So it is protecting our eyes from the perspiration also. And direct sunlight is also being protected by these eyebrows as well as this eyelids. Now these eyelids are these folds of skin. We keep on just closing and opening our eyelids. We all know that eyelids are protecting us from excessive light. They are protecting us from foreign particles. They do always cover the eye when we are sleeping. When there is excessive light or excessive dust, it protects us from all those things. Now when we close our eyelids, what happens? The tears inside our eye, which is acting as a lubricating secretion, it is all spread inside our eye over the eyeballs. And we all know that upper eyelid is more movable than the lower one. Now here we can see the lacrimal canaliculi, the lacrimal sac, and the lacrimal duct, as well as the lacrimal gland. So this is all related to the tear glands. So that we will all study in details in the next a few slides. So let us now proceed to the next slide. Now in this slide we will discuss about the tear glands. Now tear glands are also called the lacrimal glands. Now these are mainly, you can see the pointer, red pointer here in this diagram. Here this located in the upper eyelid, sideward portion of the eyelid is the lacrimal gland. Now each lacrimal gland gives rise to mainly 6 to 12 excretory lacrimal ducts. Now these are all lacrimal ducts. So they give rise to 6 to 12 approximately a lacrimal duct, and they empty their secretion onto the surface of the conjunctiva. This is conjunctiva, so they are all emptying their secretion on the surface of the conjunctiva. Then it passes through these canals and then into the lacrimal duct. Now right side of the pointer you see the lacrimal duct, and this two at the corner of the eye, these are inferior lacrimal canal. Here you can see, and this is the superior lacrimal canal. So they are pouring all their liquid into this lacrimal duct. Now this lacrimal duct goes and joins into the nasolacrimal duct down, which conducts the secretion to the nasal cavity. Now tear or lacrimal secretion is always a watery fluid which contains an enzyme called lysozyme, which is having a bactericidal property. It also contains salt as well as mucus, and it is having that enzyme which is very important actually. You should know the enzyme lysozyme present in eye has an bactericidal property, or it is a bactericidal enzyme. This is a very common question you get, that what type of enzyme is present in tears or lacrimal secretion. So that is lysozyme. Now here we should highlight the functions of tears. Now here we can see when tears are being secreted through the lacrimal duct, it spreads all over the eyes and serves as a lubricant. It washes away, now as the tears are flowing like this, we can see it washes away the dust particles, it moistens the eyeball, and the enzyme lysozyme it contained, and it is killing these tears are killing the germs, and it is protecting our eyes from several infections, bacterial infections. Okay, now in this slide we will discuss about the conjunctiva. So what is it? In the last slide we have told already that the tear glands are secreting tears onto the conjunctiva, which is acting as a lubricant. So we should know what is conjunctiva. So let us discuss what is conjunctiva. Now here, look at the red pointer and see here in this diagram of eye. Here you can see a thin membrane which covers the entire front part of the eyeball. You can see the red pointer over here. See, at the end of this there is a lacrimal gland. So this lacrimal gland, in the last slide we have discussed, are secreting tears. So here, from here you can just see the conjunctiva is a thin layer which is covering the entire eyeball and which lines inside the eyeballs. Now it is actually a double layered membrane but is reduced to a single layer of transparent epithelium over the cornea. See, this is the cornea, and over the cornea this conjunctiva becomes a single layered epithelium, transparent epithelium. Now this is conjunctiva. Now we are very much known to a term conjunctivitis. What is it? Now here you see in this eye, the white portion has become reddish in color. So might be it is being exposed to several pollutants or any kind of infections or allergic reactions. Sometimes this conjunctiva turns red due to viral infection also. So this is called conjunctivitis. For the structure of eyeball, here see the diagram. This is our eyeball. Now the eyeball is mainly, it is a spherical structure and it is measuring approximately 2.5 centimeter in diameter, and structurally the eyeball is composed of mainly 3 layers. Okay, the sclerotic layer or the sclera is the outermost layer. Next comes the choroid layer, and next comes the retina. And here we can see the lens. Now in this slide we will be discussing about the sclerotic layer or the sclera. Now first let us see the sclera or the sclerotic layer is the outer rough coat which is made of collagen fibers. Now it is a white coat of dense fibrous tissues which covers all eyeball except the cornea region. Now this sclerotic layer is divided into 2 parts. Mainly the posterior part is called the sclera and the anterior part is called the cornea. So this part is the cornea and the posterior part is the sclera. Now as it is a tough layer, it gives the shape to the eyeball and protects its inner parts. It is mainly white in color, and this cornea is a fibrous coat through which the iris can be seen. Now here inside the cornea you can see the iris. This is the iris. So the iris can be seen through the cornea. So we can see a brownish color or bluish color inside our cornea, which is the iris. So outside the cornea we can see a epithelial layer of conjunctiva, which is actually the thin layer of epithelial tissue which is called the conjunctiva. It receives its nourishment from tears and aqueous humor. The middle layer consists of the choroid, the ciliary body and the iris. Now what is the choroid? The choroid is a thin dark brown membrane which lines, you see the innermost layer, inner surface of the sclera is being lined by this thin brown membrane. Now it contains many blood cells and it is also containing a large number of pigments. Now we know there are several pigments in this eye which are like they absorb the color, they absorb the light, like rhodopsin and iodopsin pigments are there in rods and cones. So these mainly pigments are present in this choroid region. Choroid absorb the light rays also and they are not reflected back to the eyeball. There are numerous blood vessels in this thin choroid layer which gives nourishment to the retina. Now here you can see the iris. So the iris is the colored part of the choroid around the pupil, and it is colored part you can see through the cornea. We can see the iris of a person, either it's blue in color or it's brown in color. Now there is a hole like window like thing, round window at the center of the iris. Look at my pointer. This central window or hole is called the pupil. So the light enters the eyeball directly through the pupil, and the iris contains the radial and circular muscles. Now here in these 2 corners we can see the ciliary body. Now this contraction of the muscles constricts the pupil, which regulates the amount of light entering the eyeball. So now in this slide we will see the effect of light intensity on the size of pupil. Now very minutely see this diagram. Now this is the normal size of the pupil in normal light. Now when it is being exposed to bright light, what will happen? The pupil shrinks. The size of the pupil reduces as the circular muscles of the iris contract. And here you see it is exposed to dim light. Now the pupil opens wide and the radial muscles of the iris contract. So there are both circular muscles and radial muscles. Now when we are exposed to bright light, the circular muscles contract, and when we are exposed to dim light, here you see the radial muscles contract, and so the pupil becomes enlarged, and the pupil, we will see the size of the pupil has become too large. Now here also in this two diagram also you can see inside the eye, here we have only taken that pupil and iris part. Here we have taken the full eye structure. So here in bright light, the iris relaxes in bright light and the pupil constrict, and here the iris constricts and the pupil will dilate. So this is the effect of light intensity on the size of the pupil. Now in this slide we will discuss about the third inner layer of the eye. So that is the retina. So the first layer was the sclerotic layer or the sclera. The second layer was the choroid layer, and now comes the third layer, the retina. Now it is mainly located at the posterior part of the eye, and it is mainly the light sensitive area or the light sensitive layer. It contains cells like rods and cones. The rod cells are sensitive to dim light and they do not respond to color. So we should be very specific. The cones and the rods are the two cells which are present in the retina. The rods are sensitive to dim light and they do not respond to color. And rods only contain the pigment called rhodopsin. Now here you can see the pointer over here. The pigment named rhodopsin is present in the rods. And the cones are sensitive always to bright light. So these are working in contrast. Rods are sensitive to dim light and cones are sensitive to bright light. And cones are always responsible for color vision. Whereas the pigment present in the cones are iodopsin. Cone cells are confined mostly to the yellow spot or fovea centralis or macula. So this is the fovea centralis or macular region of the retina. Now cone cells are mostly confined to this region, to this yellow spot or fovea centralis or macula of the eye. So next, the last part we should discuss about the lens. Now in the next slide we will discuss about lens.